Hey guys, today I'm going to review the Holiday 2012 LEGO catalog. This is one of the last older ones that I have not reviewed yet. So I'm probably just going to go over this one, and after that it'll mostly be ones more recent, I'd say. So I might go over the summer one, just the more recent summer one next. I might just go over that, especially if I thought some more recent sets. But on the front here we have the little Winter Village cottage, which I have. I don't know if I'll ever review it, but it's a cool looking set. Especially like the details inside. To me, this is one of the last few. This is a lot of people don't care for this one, but I like it a lot. Especially the inside, it's pretty detailed. Except the anti studs that you can see on the inside, but I don't care for that much. I like the design of the front of the house. It really holds up, and the other builds are okay. And $100, weird price, but in general, it's still good for it. This is one of my favorite times for LEGO, around late 2012-ish, mid to late 2012. This is, I think around this time I was trying to get out of LEGO for a bit, and then I got back into it around 2015, 2016. So it was a weird time of LEGO for me, one of my favorites before I stopped getting into it for a while. A lot of this is just stuff I've gone over before, except I don't know about mini modulars. That's a weird set I wish they'd do again, because this is up to 2010, the Grand Emporium they have in there. So I wish they did one from like 2011 to, I don't know, 2015, and then one for more recents, but the more sets from that have already came out. Except this one, the Sopwith Camel, it's an interesting set. I've never have seen anyone like review it. Maybe I'll look that up. I kind of forget about the set. It's one of those sets that you forget about, but it's a good set. $100 is it's an alright price for that. It's a very obscure set, I'd say. I think that's the best way to describe it, just obscure, because not a lot of people will remember it. So here's a lot of the holiday stuff. A lot of it's just, small little sets. A lot of these have been in other ones. Mini Series 8, which is like an underrated series. There's some good ones in here, like the Alien, Santa, that was the first for that Santa, the Deep Sea Guy, Shakespeare, the Bat. There were some good ones in this series. I think the best one had to be the guy with the pretzels. I like that pretzel piece, even though I never got most of these. I think the only ones that I really got, I don't think I got any of these, actually. I thought I got some of them. So I was big in Lego at the time, but I don't think I got any from this series. And then the Swamp Creature from Monster Fighters, and then this was the year's City Advent Calendar, which just looks pretty typical. They still have that Santa. Because this was the first for that use of that mold for the beard. They still use the older beard mold for like Dumbledore. This is a lot of the mining stuff, which I didn't go over. There's a lot of stuff in here I didn't go over because the copy of the summer 2012 catalog, which I was going to go over, it's pretty damaged. I want to go over like a newer copy. You have the mining truck. A lot of these are great prices. I had this one, which I still have. This set here is okay. $40, a bit expensive. The mine I had, I sold it for some reason. Actually, no, it was my brother who sold it. I like the play feature where you can just drill that out. And in general, I like play sets like this. And it's a more unique Lego City playset. I just don't like how that drill is designed because there's, you don't get the front, but it's a lot more like realistic, I'd say. You also have the loader and tipper, which for $18, I think I've had this one too. It's a cheap one for what you get. I guess you probably get this one is the best one to get though. If you wanted to get a cheap mining set, it had a lot of the pieces and molds that were in this thing. These are the other ones that year. I think I would have gone over this one from like the January 2012 one I did last year. The hospital, I remember the set. It's just kind of another obscure set. The newer hospital is much better. But in general, I'm not into Lego hospitals, but this one's just okay. It's just kind of the okay one. This set I still have. This one is awesome. $120 for 900 pieces. This seems overpriced, but there's a lot of big pieces in this set, and it's a really big. This is a really big set. There's a lot of stuff going on in it too. It gives you a good amount of cars, a little gas pump, a lot of cool play features, and in general, it's a big set. I'm surprised like that people don't remember this one too much. And these are some of the other like police sets that year. And then again, must have for the holiday. I don't think I had too many of these at all. A lot of them are just like ones from before. The Ultrasonic Raider was a set I have. I don't know if it's again in this catalog, but great set, mainly for the Pythor minifigure. It was exclusive at the time, and this set, which I probably talked about in the January one, I really like. I think I wish I had gotten that one. These are the first Marvel sets, the first official ones, not just Spider-Man from early 2000s. You had this Spider-Man Doc Ock one, which is okay. This set is kind of weird. It had Deadpool in it, and again, some mature character. I just think that's kind of funny. I remember liking, in general, I remember these sets, even though I never got any of them. This is the only way to get Hulk for quite a while, too. He was just in this set, and this set had a lot of interesting figures. The Quinjet one, they've obviously made better ones since, but this one looks still kind of holds up a bit. Like, and in general, the minifigures are interesting. You also had this one, which is a cheap way to get Loki. I guess that's it for the Marvel ones. There was other sets, like one of them had the Captain America Cycle one. I think that's the one they're missing, along with those awful buildable figures. These are the DC sets that came out that year. I think I've already gone over these before. Then Monster Fighters, a really underrated theme that I like a lot. The Vampire, I had a lot of these at someone else's place. I had the Vampire Hearst, didn't have the Werewolf. I really like that Werewolf minifigure. And in general, this theme had a lot of cool glow-in-the-dark elements. The zombies, which I never had. This was kind of an oddball set that kind of came out later on. Vampire Castle I had, it was broken. I think I still had that part built up somewhere. I don't know where that is. Interesting figures too. I like in general, the Moonstones had a cool design, and I like that mold. You have the Creepy Scientist, this one, I think broke too, and I like the minifigures, including the monster. The Mummy, didn't have that one. Ghost Train, I think I might have still built up at that place I have it at. I haven't seen this in years. But I like the design of the train, along with the Haunted House, which is a really awesome set. So this was the Master Builder Academy, which I'm just going to skip over this. This was just kind of bland. It had some of the LEGO games, which I think this was around the time LEGO games was starting to go downhill. Minotaurus, I think we saw that. City Alarm. The Hobbit, which they had a lot of stuff for The Hobbit at the time. Lord of the Rings, in general, was a really interesting theme they did. It was around 2012 to, 2014, I think was the last sets for that. I like a lot of these, though. I've seen the movies. They're not my favorites, but I do like them. The sets themselves are pretty accurate, and I think LEGO did a great job with this theme. In general, I don't have much to say about them, except this one, The Mines of Mora, has some pretty interesting figures, including the Cave Troll, who, in general, I like big figs. They're interesting for certain sets, and I like how this theme had a couple of them in there. I mean, also the other goblins, those are interesting. And the Shelob Attacks, it was a great set to get Gollum in. I kind of want that Gollum figure, so I wish I got that one. I wasn't into the licensed themes at the time. I was into mainly Ninjago and City, so I didn't have too many licensed theme sets, which I kind of regret. The Ukaraha Army, these are the Helm's Deep type sets, which a lot of people, especially older fans, really like these for their figures, and in general they look really cool. I'm not into castles too much, but I think these designs are pretty interesting, and they do hold up still. And then here's my type of stuff, the Ninjago 2012. Recently reviewed that one. I just wanted to kind of go over more of the older ones. Also reviewed this set. I mean, in general, this is one of my favorite Ninjago waves, even though it's pretty small. Mainly because of the figures. They managed to include at least one or two exclusive minifigures. Not all of them, but they got a lot of interesting figures in there. They basically included the last two Serpentine tribes along with Pythor in the sets. And the minifigures in general are just awesome. Especially this set, the Epic Dragon Battle with Acidicus and Scaldor. And then this set here was great. I basically had all the sets except a couple of the spinners from this wave, and that was basically had all of them. I think I got a couple of the last ones in early 2014 too. And then this was Creator. I think I had this set. And for My Hero Factory, I had this one too. I need to get those. I need to find where those are. This set's interesting. This one not so much. I'm not really into these builds. This is just some of the store stuff. Duplo. Architecture wasn't too interesting in 2012. They had the Roby House, the Villa Savai. I don't know how to pronounce that. A lot of these more obscure buildings, and they also had the Big Ben. Then they had Technic, which I had this set. I need to put new batteries in it though, because I finished building it in like 20. When did I get this? I got this in 2013 for Christmas, and then I didn't finish building it until like late 2014, and then I took me a couple of years to finally order the missing tire because it got ripped up or something. And then these were the rest of them, and the Mindstorm robot, which I really don't like too much. Alright, now Star Wars is probably the last theme in here. I remember when they used to have Star Wars at like the end of the magazine, but this is probably my favorite Star Wars wave they've ever done, even though I wasn't even in the Star Wars, but looking back, it's probably the best wave of Star Wars sets. They had a good amount of prequel and original trilogy sets, and they had a lot of good Clone Wars ones too. They had the Advent Calendar, which I actually have. I think I found this at like a Goodwill or something. It was just missing the Darth Maul minifigure, but everything else is in there. It's a decent one for the time. I also have these, which are the planet sets, which are... I've always found these interesting, to say the least. They also wanted some cool figures. I know one of them was a Bulba, which I wish I could have gotten that one, because the Bulba is only in the $120 set besides that. And then this, I talked about this in one of my more recent list videos, but I really, really want this set a lot. And this one is also kind of there. It mainly went along with the other Jabba's set, the Skift one, the Desert Skift. No, this is the Desert Skift. The other one was just Jabba's, yeah, it was Jabba's sail barge. But it was a good way to get Lando and Boba Fett, because they weren't in this set, because they had to cram in a lot of minifigures in here. So they put the other couple in this set, and then they left the rest for the Jabba's sail barge. But in general, this is a great set. Probably one of the best Star Wars sets in general. This is a lot more of the Clone Wars type stuff. You have this Mandalorian fighter. Interesting build. I like the play feature, except the anti-studs are going to be on the bottom for when you have it like that. This set, I really like this one too. I almost mentioned this. I really like the minifigures, especially because you get Kit Fisto, Mace Windu, Palpatine, Saesee Tiin, Anakin, and Agent Kolar. But in general, I really like the Mace Windu and the Chancellor Palpatine figures. And the build is really fun. I like play sets especially when they're like, this type, where they're based on a movie and they can do a lot with it. Except I wish it was more walls, but it's more supposed to be the inside, and in general, it's a pretty detailed set. The Malevolence, the figures could have been more interesting, but I like the design. And then the Gungan stuff, which I don't really care about. I just had that one exclusive minifigure. These are just a lot more of the exclusives, and then you had the new B-Wing Starfighter, which is, so for some reason they decided to make this, I don't know why. It's kind of a unique build. It still kind of holds up. I like how they use the smooth pieces here. And then they had this really awful R2-D2, which I think people liked at the time, but it definitely has not aged well. They could have at least put some cheese slope pieces on it to make it look more smooth, but from a distance it probably looks really awesome, but from up close, not really. And then they just have the B-Wing on the back. So overall, one of my favorite times for LEGO. And then I think I stopped getting into it after during 2013. I still was into it, but not as much. And then I think it was after the LEGO movies, the second wave of that came out, and it was around 2015. I think I got back into it, especially around the time I got the Portal of Atlantis set in 2016. But in general, I love these catalogs. This is probably one of the last older ones I'll do for quite a while, for another 6 months or something. I might do a couple of ones from around 2014 to 2016. And maybe do a newer one, probably the next one. But thank you guys for watching, and bye guys.